Can silence, really be as damaging as overt action? And how do institutions, ones often founded on these really high ideals, sometimes fall so profoundly short? We're diving into exactly these vital questions today. We're exploring Jemar Tisby's powerful book, The Color of Compromise, The Truth About the American Church's Complicity in Racism. And for this particular analysis, you'll actually experience a unique two-voice AI conversation. This is powered by Google's NotebookLM, and it lets us synthesize just vast amounts of research and explore the nuances of Tisby's work in real time. It makes for a, deeper, more dynamic book analysis.
Yeah, and our mission here is pretty clear. We'll unpack Tisby's central arguments, really dig into his extensive historical evidence, and analyze his powerful and, let's be honest, challenging approach to confronting the American church's past.
Definitely challenging. And just a note, for even more insights and sort of focused reflections beyond this conversation, remember to check out Mindful Moments. That's on our YouTube channel. They offer AI book analysis specifically designed to inspire deeper reflection and rational thought.
Good point. Okay, so the book itself.
Right, let's set the stage. Foundational details. The title is The Color of Compromise, The Truth About the American Church's Complicity in Racism.
Oh.
Author is Jemar Tisby, published in 2019 by Zondervan. And this isn't just some dry academic text, right? It's nonfiction, American religious history, social justice. But it was a New York Times bestseller. It's been picked up widely, in churches, seminaries, book clubs. Huge impact.
Huge impact, yeah. And Tisby's central thesis is, it's compelling. He argues that the American church, and this is across denominations, across centuries, has been complicit in racism. And that's through both active participation and passive silence. He basically contends that only by confronting this really difficult history and then taking concrete, resolute steps can the church genuinely move toward racial justice and reconciliation.
That idea of complicity, active and passive, that really jumps out. What are some of the other key themes people should maybe listen for?
Well, beyond complicity, he really highlights the systemic nature of racism. So not just individual bad acts, but how it evolved within American Christianity itself. He draws this stark contrast between the stated gospel ideals and, what the church actually practiced. And that points to this urgent need he sees for repentance and actual anti-racist action. And, he consistently points back to the enduring legacy of segregation and silence within these faith communities.
Okay, so given all that, what are his main arguments? How does he tie those themes together?
His core arguments are, I'd say, straightforward but really profound. First, the American church has repeatedly compromised its witness. It accommodated or even endorsed racism, from slavery right up to today. Second, and this links back to what you said, complicity isn't just about overt discriminatory acts. It's equally about silence, about inaction when faced with injustice. And finally, he posits that true reconciliation. It demands both an honest historical reckoning and immediate, resolute anti-racist action, not just talk.
He covers such a huge sweep of history. How does he structure the book to make that journey clear? I mean, that's a lot of ground.
It is, but he organizes it chronologically, which works incredibly well. He takes you from colonial America through slavery, the Civil War, then Jim Crow, the Civil Rights Movement, and brings it right into the present. He even touches on contemporary movements like Black Lives Matter. Each chapter kind of zooms in on a different era or a specific aspect of the church's complicity. It builds this really powerful narrative step by step.
It sounds like he uses pretty strong language to get his message across. Are there any key quotes that really capture that core message?
Oh, definitely. He says quite starkly, racism never goes away. It just adapts. That's a foundational idea for him. But he also reminds us of the sort of subversive power within faith itself, noting that the gospel of Jesus Christ planted seeds of resistance and liberation in the minds and hearts of oppressed Black people. And a crucial motif, one he borrows from Martin Luther King Jr., is the fierce urgency of now. That's Tisby's really potent call for immediate action, not gradualism.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit more. Let's dig into how Tisby actually constructs these arguments, because it's a challenging message, right? So how does he build trust with readers, especially those who might be resistant?
That's his credibility, his ethos, and it's absolutely crucial to the book's power. Jemar Tisby isn't just an outsider criticizing. He's a historian, an educator, president of The Witness, a Black Christian collective. He's known for scholarly rigor on race and religion. And the book itself, it's grounded in extensive historical research, primary sources, clear citations. It's solid. But I think what really enhances his trustworthiness is his willingness to confront uncomfortable truths within his own faith tradition. He's a committed Christian. And he frames his critique, as he puts it, from a place of love, not just condemnation. That makes a difference.
Framing it from a place of love, that is a sharp distinction. And the book felt and still feels incredibly timely. What was the urgent context, the exigence that made this book feel so necessary when it came out?
Well, think about when it was written, leading up to 2019. We had ongoing, very visible racial tensions, various church scandals related to race or abuse, national protests. It felt like a direct response to this urgent need for the church, particularly the white American church, to really confront its past and its present failings on race. And that phrase, the fierce urgency of now, it wasn't just a historical quote he used. It was emphasizing that waiting, gradualism, that just allows injustice to continue. The time for action was and is now.
So who exactly is he trying to reach with this? I mean, it's a tough history. How does he make it accessible without, watering it down?
Yeah, that's a great question. His primary audience, it seems, is Christians, maybe especially white evangelicals, who might be unaware of this history or perhaps even resistant to hearing about the church's complicity. But it definitely reaches broader audiences too, activists, other historians, just general readers interested in justice. And he adapts his message really skillfully. He uses accessible language, not overly academic jargon. He explains complex theological and historical ideas clearly. And importantly, he offers practical applications. So it's not just history, it's what do we do now? That approach helps him connect broadly without losing the depth.
Right, it's not just facts. He's really engaging emotions and logic. How does he pull off that balance?
He uses both pathos and logos very effectively. For the emotional appeal, the pathos, he recounts these historical atrocities, the slave trade, lynchings, segregation, in vivid detail. It evokes empathy, moral urgency. You can't help but feel it. But he also uses stories of both complicity and courageous resistance. That inspires hope, maybe repentance, and invites especially white Christians into honest lament and then action. On the logical side, the logos, he gives you this systematic chronological analysis. He shows these patterns of compromise, how racism adapted within the church structure over time. He defines key terms very carefully, like racism being a system of oppression based on race, and complicity including both action and inaction. And he anticipates objections, like the argument that focusing on social justice means abandoning the gospel. He addresses that head on.
His writing style itself feels quite distinct, too. What stands out about his language, maybe rhetorical devices he uses?
The language is very clear, direct, accessible. As we said, not overly academic, but it doesn't lack weight. The tone is urgent, definitely, but also compassionate. He balances the critique with hope and real practical guidance. He uses powerful metaphors. The title itself, The Color of Compromise, is a major one. He even breaks it down. Green for greed, white for supremacy, red for violence. It's memorable. Structurally, the chronological flow is key. He repeats central themes, complicity, adaptation, urgency, which reinforces the message. And he uses things like rhetorical questions, prompting you, the reader, to consider your own role, the cost of silence. And juxtaposition, placing gospel ideals right next to historical church practice, that contrast is really stark and effective.
So bringing it all together, what's the verdict on the book's effectiveness, its impact? Did he achieve what he set out to do?
I think largely yes. He absolutely succeeds in exposing the just depth and breadth of the American church's complicity in racism. He makes a really compelling case for urgent, concrete action. The way he blends the history, the theological reflection, and those practical steps, it really works to move readers from just being aware to actually engaging with the issue. Strengths are definitely the comprehensive history, the accessible yet compassionate tone, and those practical, actionable recommendations. It's not just critique, it's a path forward.
You mentioned potential criticisms earlier, maybe about definitions being too broad. How does the book itself kind of preempt or answer that? Does he address the feeling some might get that it's maybe overwhelming?
Yeah, he sort of anticipates that. He counters the too broad critique by consistently grounding his definitions in these documented historical patterns and systemic outcomes, rather than just individual feelings or intent. He'd likely argue that if you define racism too narrowly, you miss its pervasive, adaptive nature, the very thing he's trying to expose. And while he acknowledges it can feel overwhelming, the implication is that understanding the full scope, even the uncomfortable parts, is necessary for any real change. That discomfort can actually be a catalyst.
Right. That discomfort can push you forward. And one of the most powerful parts, despite how heavy the history is that call to action. He doesn't just leave you at the problem, he offers a way forward.
Exactly. That's crucial. He offers a really practical, actionable framework he calls ARC. Awareness, relationships, and commitment. Awareness of the history, building genuine cross-racial relationships, and making a concrete commitment to anti-racist action. This ARC framework isn't just theory. It connects back to his point that the gospel itself plants these seeds of resistance and liberation. It's meant to guide churches and individuals toward building a more just future, moving beyond just talk.
The fierce urgency of now, indeed. Tisby's The Color of Compromise. It really challenges us, challenges you, to see history not as some distant echo, but as a living force, something actively shaping our present. It compels you to consider the profound responsibility that comes with your beliefs, and maybe even more pointedly, with your silence.
Absolutely. This book is a stark reminder that true reconciliation isn't just about saying sorry for the past. It's about actively, intentionally building a more just future. It's a powerful framework for change, urging all of us to move from just being aware to taking concrete, meaningful action.
And remember, for more insights and reflections like this one, do check out Mindful Moments over on our YouTube channel. It features AI book analysis, really designed to inspire deeper thought and reflection. And you can also find other Our podcasts as covering a whole range of topics that we hope you'll find interesting.
Definitely worth checking out.
So if this conversation sparked your curiosity, maybe made you think, we really encourage you to subscribe for more deep dives like this one. Please share this with someone you think would find it valuable. You can purchase The Color of Compromise using the link in the description if you want to read it yourself. And as always, we encourage you, think critically. Think critically about the information you encounter, about the history you inherit, and about the world around you.